Good day. Today we'll show you regarding the merit selection plan of the provincial government of Batangas. We are here today primarily because we want to discuss about appointment. And in order for us to do that, let us take a short journey on what is going on with PHRMO. As part of its policies, selection of employees for appointment in the provincial government of Batangas shall be open to all qualified men and women according to the principle of merit and fitness. There shall be equal opportunity for employment for men and women and persons with disability at all levels of position in the agency, provided they meet the minimum requirements set forth for the position to be filled. The merit selection plan shall cover all positions in the first and second level and shall also include original appointments and other related actions. When the position in the first or second level becomes vacant, applicants for employment who are competent, qualified, and possess the appropriate civil service eligibility shall be considered for permanent appointment. Vacant positions marked for filling shall be published in accordance with RA 7041, known as Publication Law. Publication can be made through bulletin boards of the Provincial Government of Batangas, Provincial Government of Batangas website, during flag raising ceremony announcements, and other modes deemed appropriate and responsive. This is an example of the competency-based publication of the Provincial Government of Batangas. Let's take a deeper look. As you can see, the notice of vacant position indicates the date of publication, the position, the office, the salary grade and salary per month, the item number based on the plantilla, the qualification standards for education, experience, training, eligibility, the brief description of the general function of the position, and the required competencies. As you can see, these required competencies are patterned after the competency-based job description we have discussed since 2014. There is an indication or statement that we could accept person with disability, and people should signify in writing for the position they are applying for. There are documents to be included and to be forwarded to the HR. We'll also include the time frame where they could submit all the necessary documents. Next, the publication of particular vacant position shall be valid until filled up, but not to extend beyond 6 months, reckoned from the date of the vacant position was published. These are the positions exempt from publication requirement. We've sent you a copy of the 2 HIM-1 2017-0702*A, which enumerated the Personal Selection Board members. It is important to note that the first level representative shall participate during the screening candidates for vacancies in the first level, while the second level representative shall participate in the screening of candidates for vacancies in the second level. Both rank and file representatives shall serve for a period of 2 years. The PSB members, including alternate representatives of the first and second level positions, shall undergo orientation and workshop on the selection, promotion process, and CSC policies and appointments. All candidates for appointment to first and second level positions shall be screened by the PSB. Listed below are appointments to the following positions who shall no longer be screened by the PSB. The agency head shall, as far as practicable, ensure equal opportunity for men and women to be represented in the PSB for all levels. For vacancies in the first and second levels, all qualified next-in-rank employees shall be automatically considered candidates for promotion to the next higher position. The PSB shall maintain fairness and impartiality in the assessment of candidates for appointment. Towards this end, the PSB may employ assistance of external or independent resource persons and may initiate innovative schemes in determining the best and most qualified candidate. The appointing authority shall assess the merits of the PSB's recommendation for appointment and in the exercise of sound discretion, select insofar as practicable from among the top 5 ranking applicants deemed most qualified for appointment to the vacant position. The appointing authority may appoint an applicant who is not next in rank but possesses superior qualification competence and has undergone selection process. The comparative competence and qualification of candidates for appointment shall be determined based on the following parameters: performance, education and training, experience and outstanding accomplishments, the EOPT and written examination as may be applicable, the potential, and also the behavioral event interview. An employee may be promoted or transferred to a position which is not more than 3 salary pay or job grades higher than the employee's present position, except in very meritorious cases, such as if the vacant position is next in rank as identified in the SRP or the system of ranking positions approved by the head of agency, or the loan or entrance position indicated in the agency staffing pattern. It is important to note that only an employee who have rendered at least very satisfactory service for the last rating period in the present position before being considered for promotion. Applicants who are on scholarship, study grant, training, on bar or board review, on approved leave of absence, may file their applications and undergo assessment should they be found qualified. For this purpose, performance rating to be considered shall be the last rating period immediately prior to the scholarship or training grant or maternity leave. If promoted, the effectivity date of the promotional appointment shall be on the assumption to duty. Promotion within 6 months prior to compulsory retirement shall not be allowed except as otherwise provided by law. A notice announcing the appointment of an employee shall be posted in 3 conspicuous places in the agency a day after the issuance of the appointment for at least 15 calendar days. It is the policy of the agency to strictly adhere to the principles of merit, fitness, and equality. The selection of employees shall be based on their relative qualifications and competence to perform the duties and responsibilities of the position. There shall be no discrimination in the selection of employees on account of gender, civil status, disability, religion, ethnicity, or political affiliation. In this pursuit, the agency merit selection plan aims to establish a system that is characterized by strict observance of the merit, fitness, competence, and equality principles in the selection of employees for appointment to positions in the career service in all levels. There has to be a creation of equal opportunities for employment to all qualified men and women to enter the government service and for career advancement in the agency. This merit selection plan shall cover all career positions in the first and second level in the provincial government of Batangas. The basic policies and procedures. The Recruitment, Selection, and Placement Division of the PHRMO shall publish the vacant positions in the CSC Bulletin of Vacant Positions and post the same in 3 conspicuous places in the agency. Dissemination of the same were mentioned earlier. For vacancies in the first and second level positions, all qualified next-in-rank employees shall be automatically considered candidates for promotion. However, the PHRMO shall prepare a short list of top 10 next-in-rank candidates per vacant position using as basis the current competency assessment results and latest performance ratings. The PHRMO shall inform these employees of assessment details. These shortlisted next-in-rank candidates shall signify their interest or non-interest to the agency by indicating this information and by submitting the form that shall be sent by the PHRMO. Non-submission of this form to PHRMO would mean that the next-in-rank candidate waives his or her right to be included in the assessment. This is the example of the next-in-rank memorandum that the PHRMO issues to the next-in-rank. As you can see, this is in the form of memorandum addressed to the person. The subject indicates the position to be filled up or the vacant position. It's important that you signify your interest to the assessment or position by taking the appropriate box in the return slip. If you do not submit the same, this means you waive your right. Next, the shortlisted qualified next-in-rank and other internal or external express the interest of the position shall be considered in the assessment phase. No deliberation by the PSB shall be conducted during the 15-day period of the vacant position. To have a pool of potential candidates, the PHRMO shall continuously receive and initially evaluate applicants who may be considered for assessment for future vacancies. The applicants will be given adequate information about the province, the office and division where vacancy exists, and the functions of the position to be filled. A brief presentation of the organization and the office concerned may be viewed and copied, and a copy of Competency-Based position description form may be read by applicants prior to taking the written exam or the conduct of BEI for them to be certain of their interest in and fitness to the organization. The listed candidates aspirant for the vacant position either from within or outside the agency, including qualified next-in-rank employees. In the process, the following shall be considered. An employee may be promoted or transferred to a position which is not more than 3 salary pay or job grades higher than the employee's present position, except in very meritorious cases, such as if the vacant position is next in rank as identified in the SRP approved by the head of agency, or the loan or entrance position indicated in the agency's staffing pattern. Again, for reiteration, an employee who is on local or foreign scholarship or training grant, pregnant, or on maternity leave may be considered for promotion. We conduct preliminary evaluation and qualification of all candidates. Those initially found qualified shall undergo further assessments such as written exam, skill test, interview, and among others. For persons with disability, the visually impaired are given the option to take the examination through the dictation system. The deaf or hard of hearing shall have an extension of additional time in taking the exam. The conference room of the Office of the Provincial Administrator shall serve as a temporary PWD counter. Assessment results are valid for a period of 2 years, reckoned from the date of the PSP signs the assessment results. As such, the results of competency assessment of an applicant for a particular position may be used when the applicant signifies interest to another position. Said applicant shall be assessed on competencies to which he or she has not been assessed. Applicants with pending administrative cases shall not be disqualified from applying for the promotion during the pendency of the case. In case there is already an executor judgment against the applicant, he or she may be promoted only after serving the period of suspension of the number of days he or she was fined. Employees who have been given the penalty of demotion shall be disqualified for promotion for 1 year. Applicants from within the provincial government of Batangas or from government agencies who are applying for the same or comparable positions shall be evaluated based on the existing policies of the agency and shall undergo screening if found qualified. This is to ensure that the applicant meets the competencies required of the position. Provincial government of Batangas employees who have retired, resigned, or transferred to other government agencies or offices shall undergo the regular process of assessment to be considered for employment in the provincial government. This is to ensure that these employees are assessed based on the competencies required of the position. The selection lineup or roster of applicants should reflect the comparative competence and qualifications of candidates on the basis of EETE, education, experience, training, and eligibility, which the applicant must initially meet, plus the performance ratings. Further criteria for education, experience, training, and eligibility. For performance, it is important to note that the appointee must have at least a very satisfactory rating prior to the selection process. The education refers to the formal or non-formal academic, technical, or vocational studies that will enable the successful performance of the duties and responsibilities of the position. The experience refers to previous employment or jobs or volunteer work on a full-time basis in either government or private sector. These duties are certified by the PHRMO or authorized officials on the previous employer. The ethics-oriented personality test is an assessment instrument that determines behavioral tendencies and personal profile of an applicant. It operationalizes the 5-factor model, which organizes personality traits into 5 broad traits or domains: the emotional stability, extraversion, openness to experience, agreeableness, and conscientiousness. EOPT is being offered by the Civil Service Commission. Applicants who have obtained EOPT from CSC can use this on their application and can be part of the assessment process. However, said test is not compulsory for the applicant in the selection process. The potential refers to the capacity of a candidate to assume the duties of the position to be filled and those of higher and more responsible positions. A greater percentage rate shall be allocated to performance. The training refers to formal or non-formal training courses such as seminars, workshops, and other HR interventions that will enhance one's knowledge, skills, capabilities, and attitudes, which shall be supported by a certificate issued by either the training facilitator or the organizing body from the government or private sector. On training, it is important to note that the number of hours training programs attended that are relevant to the duties and responsibilities of the position is considered. Relevance refers to the specific training programs that are functionally related to the duties and responsibilities of the position. Recency refers to the length of time from the day the relevant training programs was attended to the present. It is to ensure that one applicant keeps himself abreast with the latest technology and trends. For recency, we normally use the 5-year recent programs. Eligibility refers to the result of passing a merit and fitness examination, which may be determined as far as practicable by competitive examination based on highly technical qualifications or other tests of merit and fitness conducted by the CSE or other examinations, generally designed and coordinated by, recognized by law. They are the PRC, the Supreme Court, and TESDA. The required competencies assessment. This refers to the evaluated competencies demonstrated by the applicant during the assessment phase, done by raters and the PSB members. It is important to note that applicants will be notified of the outcome of the preliminary evaluation. Thereafter, we'll submit the selection lineup or roster of applicants to the PSB for deliberation and bank. Before we go through with the systematic assessment of competence and qualifications of candidates, we prepare individual applicant's profile. It allows, in a glance, to see the fitness of the applicant for the position. We write there the qualification standards for education, experience, training, and the eligibility. Below is the applicant's qualifications, his name, status, age, the education, eligibility, his work experience, the training programs attended, the performance rating, and of course, the special skills and hobbies. Next, a systematic assessment of competence and qualification candidates for appointment to the corresponding level of positions. Assessment forms, tools, and procedures for the different positions shall assess competencies, motivational, and organizational fitness to ensure a standard measure across applicants and departments or offices. The PHRMO shall ensure the assessment tools, methods, and procedures are complied with in accordance with the MSP. The PHRMO PSBs shall work together and may involve heads of departments or offices in developing the assessment tools and the establishment of a data bank of test items. The HR shall prepare the following assessment forms to guide the appointing authority in the judicious selection of applicants. Earlier, you've seen the profile contains the education, computation of relevant or supervisory training, and experience as required, the eligibilities, and essential information placed under the remarks column. For background investigation form, it focuses on additional information required as gathered on the applicant's work history, competencies and functional areas, personnel and work values, interpersonal relationships, the medical history, other information that may affect or forecast performance. The BEM method shall be used to gather this data. This is a background investigation form capturing form for Administrative Aid 3, Clerk 1. Take note that the competencies to be utilized on this position are also patterned after the competency-based job description. The rater will just have to provide if the person or the applicant shows strength, proficiency, needs minimal development, or much development is needed. The functional areas where the applicant can perform effectively. We would like to gather information on the work performance of duties and responsibilities, compliance with office rules and regulations, and other relevant information or data. Next, the individual competency assessment and motivational fitness report. It includes the position profile, competency assessment results, and the motivational fitness scores of the candidates. The motivational fitness score is not computed in the overall rating but may determine the applicant's fitness to the position. The motivational fitness focuses on the organizational fitness, locational fitness of the person. This is an example of the individual competency assessment and motivational fit report. Again, the competencies we are going to measure are based on the competency-based job description. On the second column, you can see the proficiency level required, and of course, the competency score. These things are normally captured via interview. Let's go for the comparative assessment. It summarizes all information about the applicants, including the ratings in various competencies, the ranks, and other relevant information about the applicants. Here it is. Comparative assessment. You can see it is similar to an IAP. Difference is there is also computation for experience training. The competencies to be captured here are also, again, came from the competency-based job description. There will also be a narrative on the BI highlights and feedback from stakeholders. So after there has been a prepared background investigation report coming from the captured BI forms, it will be written in this column. As you can see, performance rating, 30%. Now, if the applicant has no performance rating, it will not be measured. It will just be on the competencies corresponding to the 70% score. Now, these competencies can be, the 70% competencies can be broken down into 40 or 30, depending on the assessment or the weight allocation criteria, if it is a managerial, supervisory, technical, administrative support, or skills, trades, and crafts position, which will be shown later. Right? The HR shall administer competency-based written exam to the applicants, will check and rate the test papers and answer sheets of applicants. Only those who will get a rating of at least 2 in all technical competencies shall proceed to the next phase of assessment, which is the conduct of behavioral event interview with the HR. For skills and trades and crafts, for example, tests shall be administered to applicants prior to written exam. Now, the HR shall conduct the initial behavioral event interview to the rank and file positions. Now, this is the critical role of the head of a department of a division, where the vacant position exists. He or she shall participate in the development of assessment tools and suggest or offer examination questions or items that may be specific to the office vacancy, and shall participate in the assessment activities, example of BEI or PSB deliberations for all positions. Now, there is an exemption. The head of the PSB for PGDH, PGA, PHO2, PHO1 of hospitals shall directly interview the applicants for managerial positions. Now, upon receipt of the assessment report from the HR, the PSB has 3 options. First, They may decide to transmit the assessment results to the appointing authority should it find the assessment procedures compliant with the standards and the assessment results and report in order. 2. They may conduct another BI with the top 5 assessed candidates to further validate competency assessment. And 3. They may conduct another BI or other types of assessment should it find the necessity for such. Now, the HR shall conduct the BI in the top 5 assessed candidates for a vacant position. This is to elicit again additional information and facts from their supervisor, subordinates, peers at work, either through conduct of interviews or responses to a prepared questionnaire or the feedback form of the capturing form as shown earlier. Now, for applicants with no experience yet, the BI shall be done on the school officials and references provided by the candidates. Yeah, as you can see, this is the assessment criteria. This is normally being seen on a comparative assessment. You'll see competencies are measured on 70%, performance is 30%. Again, if there is no performance rating review or appraisal for the applicant, it shall be not included in the computation, only the 70% here. Now, the BI will only serve as a supplement to validate competency assessment and motivational fitness of an applicant. Now, the required competencies for every position of a group considering mandate necessity to pursue government, nature of work, and functions to be performed are grouped as follows. I've said earlier, managerial, supervisory, non-supervisory, the admin, and skills, trades, and crafts. These are considered managerial positions. For supervisory positions, here under are the enumerated ones. For technical or non-supervisory positions, they are as follows. And as computed as follows for weighted allocation. For administrative support, for skills, trades, and crafts positions, normally these are the category 2 positions, category 4. As you can see, it will always total on the 70% competency criteria. After it has been measured, next step to do is to submit the list of candidates recommended for appointment, from which the appointing authority shall choose the application to be appointed, or the applicant to be appointed. Again, the appointing authority shall assess the merits of the PSP's assessment and recommendation and appoint the applicant deemed best qualified to fill the vacancy. Now, the appointing authority shall indicate his or her first 2 choices for a vacant position. Now, the first choice shall be required to undergo medical assessment prior to the issuance of appointment. Should the medical assessment results show that the applicant is unfit to work, the next choice of the appointing authority shall be required to undergo medical assessment and offer the position if found fit to work as certified by a physician. For this purpose, the results of medical assessment conducted in less than a year may be used. The medical assessment shall only be required for those whose appointments are original in nature. Now, the next step is, of course, to issue an appointment in accordance with the provisions of this agency MSP. For better appreciation, we'll now proceed with showing you a process flow chart on the steps on the selection process. We begin by publication of a vacant position. We accept applications, so the applicant must signify in writing the conduct of preliminary evaluation. We look for a qualified next in rank, issues memorandum to next in rank and wait for a response. We'll now prepare the roster of applicants, preparation of individual profiles or the IAP. Now, the assessment forms, tools, and procedures has to be administered to the applicants. The individual competency assessment, the background investigation or the BI. They will undergo the PSB meeting or the interview. Comparative assessment shall be prepared. The minutes and resolution of PSB must be prepared, with the selection of appointee by the appointing authority, and thereafter shall notify applicants about the assessment results, including action taken. The applicant may either receive a letter of regret or congratulatory letter. Thereafter, the issuance of appointment. Again, this is the preparation of IAP, the roster of applicants, and the applicants will be given a notification of acknowledgement and thereafter the evaluation process. This is it, the actual assessment. Now, for selection of appointees, issuance, and released, the heads of departments where vacancy exists may recommend the preferred candidate from the roster of applicants. Now, the appointing authority shall judiciously decide on appointments based on competency profile in accordance with the existing CS laws and rules. Now, the appointing authority shall select appointees from among top 5 ranking candidates who fully meet the competencies assessed. The HR shall disseminate information on all appointments issued and approved by the appointing authority. Can be done by posting on bulletin board announcements during flag-raising ceremonies. A notification of the applicants about the assessment results, including actions taken by the HR and PSB and the appointing authority. Grievance. A qualified next in rank may present the grievance machinery under the following conditions: non-compliance with the selection process, a discrimination on account of gender, civil status, disability, pregnancy, religion, ethnicity, or political affiliation. A disqualification of applicant to a career position for a reason of lack of confidence of the appointing authority, and other violations of the provisions of this MSP. For HR, we have the following functions. We disseminate MSP. Orientation shall also be conducted with the HR within 6 months upon approval of the MSP. We develop assistant ranking positions. Develop a plan which shall set forth the number of knowledge, skills, and personnel needed to achieve the organizational goals, objectives, and programs. We develop, maintain, updated qualification database of employees of the agency to include education, training, experience, skills, competencies, and other similar information. A program to fast-track career movement of employees with superior qualifications. The conduct of preliminary evaluation, notification of applicants, the outcome of the prelim evaluation, submission of selection lineup or rows of applicants to the PSB for deliberation and bank. Now this embodies that the employees shall submit an updated PDS annually or as deemed necessary. You will see here the functions of the PSB members. They shall evaluate competence and qualifications of candidates for positions in the first and second levels of the career service involving regional, reinstatement, reemployment, transfer, and promotion. They have to adopt formal screening procedure and formulate criteria for the evaluation of candidates. They shall disseminate screening procedure and criteria for selection to all agency officials and employees and interested applicants. A systematic assessment of competence and qualification candidates for appointment is to ensure fairness and impartiality in the assessment of candidates. The merit selection plan and subsequent amendments thereto shall take effect immediately and after the approval by the Civil Service Commission.